Okay, question 1 is determine the coordinates of the midpoints H and G of DE and DF respectively. Right, so the coordinates of H are equal to the sum of the other two x values of H and D, E and D, so that'll be minus 3 plus 1 over 2, and minus 2 plus 6 for the y values, also over 2, which simplifies to negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, divided by 2 is negative 1, and the y values is positive 4 over 2, which is positive 2. All right, and then always write the coordinates on your diagram, so minus 1 and 2. Okay, then for the coordinates of G, we have the sum of those two x values at D and F, so 1 plus 5 over 2, and 6 plus 1 over 2. And that gives us 6 over 2, which is 3, and 7 over 2 for the y value, and again write them on, so 3 and 7 over 2. Okay, number 2 says a median is a line from the vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. Use this information to determine the equation of median EG and median FH of triangle DEF. Okay, so effectively they're saying that this is a median because it goes from the vertex of the one side to the midpoint of the other side. And EG is a median because it goes from this vertex to the midpoint of the other side. All right, so let's start with line EG. And we already have two coordinates. The two coordinates are G, 3, 7 over 2, and E, negative 3, negative 2. All right, so let's first work out the gradient. So the gradient of EG will be equal to 7 over 2 minus negative 2 over 3 minus negative 3. Okay, so that becomes 7 over 2 plus 2 over 6. 3 minus negative 3 becomes 3 plus 3, which is 6. All right, and then this fraction simplifies to 11 over 12. Okay, so that's our gradient. Now we can determine the equation by using this formula, and we can substitute either of those two coordinates. Obviously, it's easier to substitute E because there isn't a fraction. So it'll be y plus 2 is equal to our gradient, 11 over 12, into x plus 3. Right, simplifying into standard form, 11 over 12 times x is 11 over 12x, and then 11 over 12 times 3 is 33 over 12, but then 33 over 12 minus 2 is positive 3/4. Right, so that's the equation of EG. Right, and now next we're going to look at the equation of FH. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing here for FH. First, we're going to work out the gradient. So the gradient of FH is equal to 2 minus 1, the y value at H minus the y value at F, over minus 1 minus 5, the x value at H minus the x value at F. Okay, so we get 1 over negative 6. Okay, so that's our gradient. All right, and now we're going to use this formula again and substitute either point. I'm going to choose F, doesn't matter which one. So y minus 1 equals our gradient, negative a sixth, into x minus 5. Multiply out, we get negative 1 over 6x, and then negative 1 over 6 times negative 5 is positive 5 over 6, plus 1 is 11 over 6. Okay, so that's your equation of FH. Question 3 asks us to determine the coordinates of P. So because we've already worked out the two equations of FH and EG, point P is an intersection. So we can simply equate our two equations to each other. So the equation of EG was y equals 11 over 12x plus 3/4. And the equation of FH was y equals negative a sixth x plus 11 over 6. Right, so we can equate the right-hand sides of these two equations together so that 11x over 12 plus 3/4. I found it easier to put the x in the numerator instead of next to the fraction because we know that we're going to be getting rid of the denominator. Right, and that's equal to negative x over 6 plus 11 over 6. All right, the common denominator here is 12. So we're going to multiply each term by 12. So the first term we're going to get 11x. The 3/4, the 4 goes into the 12 three times. So 3 times 3 is 9. And on the right-hand side, they're both over 6. So that goes into 12 twice. So we multiply each of the numerators by 2. So we get minus 2x plus 22. Take over the x, then we get 13x on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, 22 minus 9 is 13. Therefore, x equals 1. All right, now to get the y value, we can substitute into either of the two equations. So let's go with the first one. So y is equal to 11 over 12 times 1 plus 3/4. And we get y is equal to 5 over 3. Therefore, point P is 1 and 5 over 3.